Good morning, party people. Welcome to Breakdown. I'm Nath. Today, we're going to be reviewing the brand new album from our dudes in Sleep Token, Even In Arcadia. Now, before we get into this, I just want to say, thank you guys for all the love and support. You give us such cool opportunities, like getting early access to albums like this. It's so nice to have built an incredible audience like you and also get the labels to trust us to not leak anything or do anything like that. So we've had a chance to listen to this for the last week and give you guys a full in-depth review as it drops. So Johnny and I are going to do this one separate. We haven't had a chance to link up this week, and we thought rather than waiting until it's already out, we'd get on it and talk to you guys separately. So you get two different videos. Now I'm not going to do playthroughs. I'm not going to watch videos or anything at this stage. This is going to be just like a talking through video. So if that's not for you, that's totally fine. But just this way we can actually not get blocked for monetization. So without further ado, Even in Arcadia. If you want to know my full out of 10 stars review, stick around to the end. But I'm going to go through track by track and kind of just talk through my highlights. I've got some notes here, so let's just get into it. I will say this before we start individually, is that if you're going into this expecting a metal album, you're going to be disappointed. It's not a metal album. I don't view Sleep Token as a metal band. I view them as a art project, if anything. It's creative expression. They're doing something unique and fantastic and wonderful. I love that they've built this mystery behind them as individuals and allowed this focus to be on the art. It's so cool. I've been a fan of them for many, many years, literally since they first kind of came out with Jaws. And so it's been really fun to kind of go along on the journey and watch their fandom grow along the way. But I know that they're going to get a lot of negativity for this album. I can understand that for people who aren't particularly familiar with them. For me, I think this is such a cool progression. So, opening track, Look to Windward. This is a slow build. It starts off with almost like an 8-bit style musicality. Even the vocal production is a little bit withdrawn. When I first heard it, I thought I maybe had a poor version of the song, but then it builds over time. There's this ethereal vocal layers that kick in behind the music as it grows, which I think is going to be so interesting to hear live before it builds to that classic heavy Sleep Token sound that we know and love. I love the repetition of the line, "Will you haunt this eclipse in me?" And it builds and builds and builds that line into this almost black metal crescendo, with vocal distortion and crushing music. This song is it's an 8-minute song. I think there's 5 songs on the album over 6 minutes, which is pretty crazy. Particularly for a modern album where you see songs getting shorter and shorter. This song almost reminds me of The Summoning off the last album. I think there's a few moments on there that people are going to kind of put comparisons in. I can see it in this one, but it is a progression. Now, track 2, Emergency. This was the first single from the guys, and it's still a standout track for me. I haven't got sick of this song. I've listened to it so many times since. Full transparency, I've listened to this album on repeat for the past week. I'd say 20, 30 times to really give an in-depth review for you guys. And that's what stands out for me of it's going to be an instant classic. For those that like it, it's going to be an instant classic. So, yeah, I think the Emergence was a really strong opening single. It was progressive and unique and showed the next evolution of the band, but still sounded like them. This sort of rapped vocal style. Really, really interesting. I'm not going to go on the existing singles too much because we've already heard them. Past Self. Now, this is a really interesting one. This is... I'd say it's probably the most unique sonic departure for the band. It is a very hip-hop, R&B centered song kind of the whole way through. Also, the lyrics, they're super introspective. Is that the word I want there? It's very real. When the line, something like killing the game on Damocles was mentioned, I was that sounds like a juxtaposing vocal style and delivery for what we're expecting from Sleep Token. I feel like Past Self really comes out more than that. It feels much more like something you would hear in the street conversationally as far as the lyrics go. It's catchy and repetitive in the music, but deceptively complex. There's a lot going on there, which is really, really cool. Um, what else have I got there in that song? I said like the layered vocals are super interesting, particularly in the way that it's Vessel's vocal layered a lot. I know that they have like the full band on stage, but I think that'll be a really interesting one to hear. It's also the first time we really start to notice the theme of dancing comes up a lot in the lyrics in this one. Track 4, Dangerous. Now, this is a really interesting mix of old and new. It's got like the dark and brooding lyrics that I think are definitely going to resonate with a lot of the fandom. And the music change up at the 1:30 mark really brings in this like hip hop sound. But then again at 2:15, it morphs into like a heavier sound again. So it's really cool to see these like even the shorter songs have progression throughout them. And again, we get another like, won't you show me how to dance forever? So another reference to dancing, which I think is really cool. Caramel. Now this is the song that I think has like re-broken them for a lot of people in terms of like broken them into the mainstream. It debuted really highly on the charts, and it made people like really stand up and take notice for them. And I think it's really cool, particularly where it's a song where Vessel focuses and talks about like struggling with fame and what that's like. It has so many different genres thrown into one, like starting with that almost like a reggaeton beat and then evolving into like a black metal frenzy at the end. Musically, it's complex and it's interesting, and it's cool that so many people have heard it because I think it's such an interesting song to hear on the radio. All right, now even in Arcadia, the album title track. This is an interesting one. It opens with like almost like a broken music box with like you can imagine like a ballerina sort of like twitching as it goes around there, and then evolves into like hauntingly beautiful keys. There's like one of the opening lines is turns out the gods we thought were dying were just sharpening their blades. I think that's such a visceral, sick line, which I really like. And we hear a different vocal range from Vessel around the 3:15 mark with the have you been waiting long? Wait, have you been waiting? Yeah, have you been waiting long? It's like deep and guttural and really impassioned in it. It just feels like it's a sound we haven't heard from him before. I actually messaged the guys and was like, is that Vessel on that one? Because like that doesn't sound like him. I think that's really cool. And I love the strings to finish out that song. So that's like it's probably my second favorite track on the album. I think that's a really beautiful, cool song. Now, Provider. This is one that I think is going to divide a lot of people. Divide. It's like the sexiest track on the album, and for the people there that like really get down with like the sexual side of Sleep Token, I think people are going to really look into this one. Like the croon vocal melody over the organs builds into like an 808s beat, and then progresses into like a chunkier sound, but lyrically it just kind of talks about being like the guy that's like looking after the girl essentially, and I think people are going to really eat that up. It's probably my least favorite track on the album, if I'm being completely honest. Doesn't mean I don't like it, I don't ever skip it, but it's the one for me that I'm like, it doesn't resonate with me personally. Damocles. Now, we did this on the channel recently, so you can watch those videos. Starts off soft and emotional and then explodes into like heavy, powerful chaos. It blends like beauty and aggression and a sense of defiance. It's also like a bit reminiscent of Euclid off the last album for me, which was my favorite track on that album. So I was really, really stoked when the first time I heard this, and I think it fits into the album really, really beautifully. Then Gethsemane. I can never wrap my tongue around these words, but I think it's Gethsemane. This is my favorite track on the album, which is annoying because it has a name. Like, I didn't know how to pronounce Euclid when I first heard it. I used to call it Euclid until the boys corrected me, but Euclid. So Gethsemane. Feel free to correct me on that one. This is my personal favorite. Beginning with like that stripped keys and beautiful vocals, and then this really interesting change up at the 1:14 mark. It becomes almost like a Midwest emo song, like really interesting little guitar lines. The percussion, Two's percussion is so interesting and so unique. And then it just builds into this like major chord riff section in the middle, so it's crushing and heavy and driving before flowing back. This one for me, it's a long song, it's 6 minutes, but it feels short. Like I feel like every time a song finishes, I'm like, oh, I want more of that. So that's the mark of a good song. But yeah, that was like instantly my favorite, and that's generally what I go with. Like first song for me, if it becomes a favorite, that generally stays it. Like my first impression lasts. So yeah, Gethsemane. God, I cannot get that. Gethsemane. It's because there's a TH and an S together, and I can't do that. And then the next one is Baths. Infinite Baths, the final track here. Now, this is a slow build. This song for me is like a grower. It's over time. I actually, the first time I listened through the album, sort of stopped paying attention on this song. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I've never had that before. However, over time and listening to it more and more, I've grown to love it. And I'll be interested to see what happens with that if it grows on me more, because that's happened to me in the past with Sleep Token songs. Now, again, this does like an upbeat major chord progression. There's like almost like a pan flute thing building in the middle before this ending of crushing, almost genty, heavy vocals, probably the heaviest vocals in the album, just driving it home and fading away. It's really showcases Vessel's heavies too. Like I feel like his rough, aggressive vocals gotten better and better over time, and this song really showcases it. And yeah, that like chugging fade out there leaves me wanting more. As soon as it finishes, I'm like, ah, God, I want more of that. And so it's an easy album to kind of flip and just start again. As I said before, that's the mark of a good album for me. If you can continuously replay it and not get sick of it, you're onto a banger. That's what they've done here. I mean, even on Arcadia, for me, I've played it so many times through. I'm so into it. I'm so interested to see what everyone else feels about it. But for me, it's a fantastic record. I would give it 8, maybe 8.5 out of 10. It's not a perfect record. As I said, there's songs in there that don't resonate with me as heavily, but I still love it. I think it's a phenomenal album. I'm so excited to see it live, and it's a long time before they're coming to Australia by the sounds of things. So I'll just have to watch online and see what it's like for those of you that are getting the next tours for Sleep Token. But I'm stoked for the boys. I think there's so much pressure that's on their shoulders to deliver here, and it sounds like they've just written the album that they want to do and create the music they want. I feel like it's a progression, but still sounds like iconic Sleep Token, and there's a reason they're getting bigger and bigger. So I'm all here for it. As I said, Johnny will do his own little review of this, and if you want to see us do like a song by song proper breakdown and like listen through, we can do that. We haven't done it for this one just because our videos get blocked. Sony videos, they don't allow us to monetize because they don't like us. But we're gonna always support our boys because we love Sleep Token and we love you. Drop a comment, let me know. I'm sure you've listened to the album by now. I would love to hear your thoughts, what your favorite tracks are. If you agree, if you disagree with me, just remember, keep it respectful. And hey, I'll see you guys in the next video.